each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge, it's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
Welcome, and welcome again to another episode of Adventures into Reality, as we have everyone logging in for a little bit of this early pre-time show. Everyone go down to your participant controls and learn how to raise your hand. Everyone, learn how to raise your hand. So if you all look into the options over here, click on participants, and you can go through them and you can raise your hand, mute. Everyone shall not be muted, unmuted. Everyone stay muted. Do not unmute yourself. I would ask everyone to turn off their video, please, also, especially if you are on phones, on Wi-Fi, and wanting to have a session. There will be much issues if you have your video on also. So take some time to turn off your video if you're going to be getting a call. Looks like we got about 100 people in the 98 people waiting to have a call here. But until we get our stuff started, we are going to have a moment or two of just deep relaxation as we're letting everyone figure out what's going on. All righty. Feels good being back on live radio. It has been since December. I only did 3 shows last year, but it's been fun. So I want to present a healing perspective for all the Red Road walkers out there. We, as natural living beings in the now, have this amplification of love as the wisdom densities we support the Red Road ancestors, those who are on this infrared walk. It may be weary, like my parents' 7 generations perspective, to propel them forward into wisdom, to hold, to teach for their own life force and their inner child relationship that they have all relations with. It is all to all Earth's nations relations, the oceans, my guides, my Earth Mother, ancestors, the 7 directions, elementals, the dragon guides, the bee clans, mineral and crystal beings, star beings, angelic sun, moon, and ascended beings. All seamless is a creativity. Through seamless creativity, we find the peacekeeper within. I am all my imaginal cells interconnected in seamless creativity. Boundless, limitless. I am the unvanquished dream, and you are also the unvanquished dream. I'm creating a life tapestry in equal co-creation and dancing through. I am nurturing. I am unqualified love in heart tendering. The quintessence of peace, the essence of mystical alchemy. The truth we have always known, transformed. I am the eternal each moment knowingness. The blazing of the heart that connects us to the eternal fires of all space. When we connect to our hearts, the one pulse, the one dance, the one beat, it transforms infinite expressions of all love and peace in Earth Mother. All space, all void, our individual, communal, and our own together, eternal blazing fires. That's that opening energy. I hear a clicking in the background. Who is it that's clicking? Okay, 1 second here. What follows is my will to express my internal, masterful self, out-creation of the systems of distraction that dominate my awareness. I, as this ever-present moment of the now, choose to form a multi-layered spiritual court of alchemical equity for the expressed purpose for sharing the Akashic Records at the proper scale and size so that all beings of light manifest now may reclaim their birthright and legacy as sovereign beings of conscious choice. This is my map in non-competition with all other frequencies of light. We create this in the pyramid of the self, the temple of the I am self, where we have danced in the shadows and the patterns of all former selves, and accepted who we are in the now. That mighty pyramid of the self is where the bubble of protected no time creates the I am now heart statement. I summon all ancestors, past, present, and future, those in equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order, to populate this manifest now spiritual chord of equity. So the manifest now may begin the process of expansion of knowingness for the expressed purpose of revealing our race amnesia. So we as a species and global unity may begin to tell the tales of ancestors, past, present, and future. Call to Earth Mother, who holds sacred space for all life within her realms of light existence. Come occupy this multidimensional spiritual chord of equity. I ask you to be the sovereign neutral auditor of time-space existence within this expression of teaching the Akashic Record to the first pod of whale people, all you listening, who have assembled in the mighty co-creative moment of now, singing the eternal songs. Here is where we now anchor the Akashic Record frequency. We do this by sharing light codes in the form of language and third density manifest words. With these words, we make sacred our expression by holding the sacred neutral position. You, in this mighty moment of the now, have so many choices. The first group of choices that you want to look at is, what are you manifesting in your sovereign boundaries? Here is where you can perform spiritual surgery on yourself, where you can learn about old habit patterns that make you lazy or unencumbered with emotions. That powerful moments when something is overtaking you, you can pull the power of choice and say, I'm now removing that from my signature frequency of being. I am no longer a match for that subject matter that constantly creates a cyclical habit pattern of self-destruction, self-disease creation, or any other form of co-creation with zealot energy that leads me away from my divine, co-creative, inner transforming self. Taking it step by step so the process of life doesn't become a series of instant gratified moments, but the infinite soul learning the great experience of the I am and the now. Allowing equal co-creation to be a part of our regular everyday life will be the true challenge of those that want to live the mystical life daily. Because there are times when we choose to do our meditations and our desires to have that micro mystical moment. And that is at the subtle levels of instant gratification in our reality. The layers coming to us with co-creative divine force of the infinite spirit, reminding us, even in those instant moments, we aren't gratified. We're showing layers of wisdom in our knowingness, and we simply must be present enough to unpack and uncode the mystical experience so we understand that it isn't gratifying a part of us, it is fulfilling us. Fulfilling. Tonight is the night I accept my role in DNA development. This is a choice in the mighty co-creative moment of now. This choice fully accepts my friendship to all friend spirits. This I am self fully understands its purpose in this density manifest. This being of the now is the signature frequency of the time. This I am dreaming now is in communal oneness with the four doorways of self-perception. I manifest my I am present self in the dream lodge of Peacemaker's co-creation. I have ended my eternal struggle of density manifest by accepting my role as the peacemaker and peacekeeper, as a multi-density manifest I am presence dreaming self in equal co-creation, non-competition with its ancient present now, using the DNA super technology of communion and union as the density action of remedy and resolve in the seen and unseen layers of light perception. Trust is a set of choice points that dovetails into knowingness. When the choice points are complete, trust is the three-edged sword. Seen, unseen, unknowingness. Trust has many seen and unseen scales in the subtle energy background. Until we can learn to see the subtle energy field around us, trust is a concept that will be limited to our five senses, combined to make our sixth sense, which is to be judgment-free. A judgment-free point of view is in essence the sacred neutral point of view. We adopt, adapt, or assimilate the sacred neutral point of view. Each day we allow the mystical to change our perception without self-deception based off our subtle trusting emotions of the moment. So many of us trust and mistrust moments exists without fully understanding the moment and all of its infinite possibilities that come in a moment of choice-based trust. How do we stop the projections of others' mistrust upon us? How do we let go of the over-trusting energies that suppress our clear intentions? We give away power in such grand and minuscule levels, and trust is one of those choice exchange points of energy. Trust is an overbearing subject, and at times it beckons us to deal with the most upfront issues we have. It means our sympathetic and parasympathetic are actually trying to gauge our trust and create moments of doubt, self-doubt, internal or external. So the choice point of trust is directly affected by the controlling synaptic central nervous system that believes it is fully the soul and nothing else. Everyone on the healing path has parts of themselves that do not want to grow. Everyone. Our sympathetic and parasympathetic represents that which in us in its frequency of trying to get our choice points to trust and turn them into self-doubt. Know this, you are a special, unique, signature frequency being of the now, created solely for these moments of now. After the moments of now pass and the world comes into balance, a great reassembling of Earth's greatest champions will be reunited in Spirit Council. They will be asked to create books of wisdom to be passed down to the many future generations of dreamers and peacekeepers who choose to end the eternal struggle. I call to the medicine of the Red Road brothers and sisters. I call to the medicine of the dreamers of the southern skies. I ask them to aid me in co-creating a message to all sentient kind, living and coexisting in all of Earth's realms. Aho, Red Road brothers and sisters. We call out beyond the dream weave, direct into your knowingness heart space. We speak these words of dreaming unity. Know all is well. The path is clear. The way is not broken. All frequencies of light now flow in and out of the universe of self-reflection and expressions of the self. The next layers of knowingness is for those of you in Red Road living as blue lives, as equal co-creators in the dance of life. 1 second here. I have 1,000 people trying to text me to get on a show when they know they can't. And let me cover my phone up. Sorry. Yes, that's what happens when you are a dingy world famous person trying to get on. All right, Robert, let's go to see who our first international caller is going to be, or intergalactic caller. Robert, are you muted? There we are.
Hey, Andrew, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay. First caller will be Kate Burrow.
Kate Burrow, there.
I'm here. Hi.
Hey, how you doing? Ding-a-ding-ding. Where are you calling from?
From Denver.
Denver, Colorado. Welcome to the show. So how did you find out about me?
I'm not really sure. I had a friend who was very interested in Arcturian energies, and we had a conversation. Your name kind of came up, and then I sort of watched some of your videos, and I started doing your Living Mystical daily class, and here I am.
Great. How has the course helped you?
It's wonderful. I just started.
Great.
I'm really loving it.
What did you want to talk about today?
I don't know. I really, I would love to know, obviously any information about, where I come from, what has happened with me, or why in this life I'm so drawn to crystals and healing and all of the things that I've had to do since I was a child.
Okay. So tell me a
So
little
yeah.
about yourself. What do you do for a living?
I'm an astrologer and energy healer, yoga teacher.
Okay. What kind of
Um,
energy?
yeah, well, I've started out with Reiki. I'm a Reiki master teacher. I've done Reiki for 20 years.
Mhm.
Um, Recently, it's sort of progressed into something a little different. They're kind of working with me and it's shifting,
Yeah, yeah.
but
All the
Reiki is
skills are
where I
changing.
started.
All the skills are changing. So
Yeah.
the irony, you're the first caller now, probably in 5 months. I don't know. I don't think we did callers in our last one, but another healer, another astrologer. So, what year were you born?
83.
And let me tune in. Ding, 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 ding. All right. So there's a handful of things that we got to take care of before we go into any depths of what's going on to you. So, did you injure your shoulder blade or back of your shoulder or your collarbone recently or in the past?
I have an injury in the kind of thoracic region of my back that I've had for years.
What did you do to that?
A friend was trying to pop my back, and I think I don't really know what happened to it. It was a long time
Or
ago.
you tore all the fascia all around it,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
serious, to the point that your collarbone is lowered down and it's not in the right position, and it's causing your
Oh,
back of your scapula to have a big fluid sac in it, really big,
oh,
pushing on the back of your lung, and it's probably limiting your breath by like 30% every day. Every breath,
yeah.
not 100%. It's less than that because of the amount of swelling and the compression on the front of you. Do you have large breasts, short, smaller? Because it'll make a difference here because
Yep.
there's a lot of pressure on your chest too, which would make sense why it's pulling your collarbone down. Uh,
Yeah.
I I'd be brutal. You should go braless for a while, and if you can find some yoga position that will help free up your scapulas,
Okay.
um, it's really something you really got to get in, or you got to get somebody going and do some deep tissue drainage on it. It's important.
Absolutely. Okay.
Also, you got something going on with your tailbone, like pretty significant. What's
Yeah, my sacrum is always hurting.
you having really bad menstruation?
No. But I'm having some hormonal things. I've changed birth control methods, so there's some hormone shifts going on.
Which birth control did you switch from?
IUD.
How long
I
had
just
you
had
had
it
that
taken
in?
out.
How long have you had that
3
in?
years.
More than 5 years?
No, 3 years.
3 years. Ooh. And you're trying a pill again?
No, a NuvaRing.
Ooh. Your body may not like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it causing any hot flashes?
Not yet, but the switch just happened.
Okay. If you notice yourself getting a lot of hot flashes, I would go back and talk to your gynecologist.
Okay.
Yeah. Hot
Yeah.
flashes are going to
Thank
mean
you.
you're burning up your chi too fast. And
Yeah,
you don't want to burn your energy up,
absolutely.
especially as an energy healer. All right. So there's one more thing that we got to look at what's going on in your digestive health.
Uh-huh.
So has there been like a significant change in your food consumption?
No, but my digestion is a little off lately, for
In what
sure.
way? What way?
Just stomach pains and you know, kind of pressure, just
Yeah. So
uncomfortable when I eat.
yeah. So you have a very highly acidic upper intestinal tract. So
Okay.
your whole gallbladder is really, 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 really tensed out right now. Really
Okay.
tense. And it would probably be a very beneficial for you to go and do a gallbladder flush. You may
Okay.
end up getting some pellets coming out, which would really free up your ability to produce bile the right way. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So let's
Wonderful.
get into your deeper history here. Let me scan you a second here. So there's a variety of themes that come up. And the first theme I really look at is you had many, many lifetimes as a captain of a wooden sailing ship.
Oh.
Sometimes you were a pirate, sometimes you were a war guy, sometimes you're just a guy transporting food and material, raw materials. But I'm actually looking one where you're an explorer. And this is in the 1500s. And you're from the Muslim countries, the Algeria area.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular one, the Muslim groups actually made a deal with the Knights of Malta where they were on a truce where they weren't going to fight each other. And they were taking an expedition to an island off the Canaries, a very small island. But this was during a time where the oceans were very different.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most significant thing to understand is where your soul began to put together the bigger picture of how really controlled this world was.
Mm-hmm.
And that for the last 500 years, your soul has been deprogramming yourself of how the big picture has been skewed. And that's why in this lifetime, you are super connected to crystals, because that island you went to is where you collected some of the most rarest of rarest diamonds that were coming out of a kimberlite pipe. And it was not a big island, only a couple kilometers wide, but it was a raw kimberlite pipe right on the surface of an island. And it greatly, greatly changed your soul, the actual visiting of that island. And I see a variety of other lifetimes going further back, 20, 30 million years, where you seeded crystals in high pressure places deep underwater, knowing full well that everything underwater will be undersurface, will be above the surface, wherever the waters come and go. So the very ancient you was an actual seeder of that original kimberlite pipe many, many millions of years ago. And your ancient future self came up in a life in great unknowingness through the great forgetting and began getting deeply connected to the diamonds community, the mineral community, gold, platinum, silver, and then into the quartz and all of the other mineral communities. There's this big unity of them around you. Is there a favorite type of crystal you have?
Oh, it's like asking me which one of my kids is my favorite.
Have you ever heard of a Herkimer diamond?
Oh, I have many, yes.
Have you ever seen ones that are the golden record keepers that have crystal inside crystal inside crystal in them?
Yes, I have one of those in an amulet right now, actually.
It would be a good idea for you to start collecting some more of those.
Okay.
And begin to use them in your Reiki healing.
Okay.
Okay. So what other kind of questions you want to ask?
Oh, how I could best facilitate healing, and not overgive.
Courage.
I hear you.
Discernment.
Yeah.
Now, that's the Zen Fu grandmaster, of the obvious answer right there. On a different level, you have to know what's enough is enough. Because there's a fine line between going the extra moment and the extra energy and the extra focus for the person to get them into the zone, so to drop them into the zone deeper, or if the person's just really sucking up your energy. And that comes from experience. There are some people that you work on and you work on and you work on, and it's only in the last 2 minutes do they actually just open up to you. And do you go an extra minutes after that and not charge them or whatever it is? That's your particular choice. You also have to understand when you're giving free healings, when does it end? And when does that choice of, all right, this is enough, but if I need to go an extra little bit, I'll go an extra little bit. That's that courage to say enough's enough, especially if you do 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 in a day. Those are, a lot to do in a day, but you also have to learn how to give treatments to yourself. In standard Reiki, every time you give a treatment, you receive a treatment. But during your off times, you can send treatments forward to yourself. If you know your schedule next week, you can spend 2 hours on a Sunday and know on Monday I have 2 clients, on Wednesday I have 3, on Thursday I have 5, whatever. And you can send treatment forward in time to yourself and to your client.
That's a really good idea.
Right, knowing full well that you can accept that healing in that moment and double down for yourself and your client. Now, that is the
Yeah.
way Reiki was originally supposed to be taught, though many of those concepts were left out. And when you form a Reiki clinic, it isn't supposed to be individual practitioners. There's supposed to be scores of people all working for the clinic. And the main people who are on what are called energetic rotation are the ones that are constantly sending treatments forward in time to themselves and the schedule that's coming. And then there's a background group of 40, 50, or 100 people who are in training level 1 and 2, and who are just sending treatments to who? The clinic itself. So all those that will come will always have treatments in a double down fashion. That's how you amplify the larger amounts of energy, of universal energies that are around, when the common focus is to make the clinic in the high motion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've been feeling lately, in my healing sessions, the clients' guides and then also my crystal allies are taking more of a active role in it. That's why I say it's sort of shifting.
In what way? Let's pull the curtain back and allow people to see under the hood here.
Yeah.
So what are your guides telling you now?
Right now?
Yeah, right now. Put you on the spot.
My guides are worried about me overgiving.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So ask them, what is overgiving? And have them give the answer. What is their definition?
Boundary mislocation.
Mm-hmm. And who mislocates it?
Me.
Why? And why do you mislocate it?
Because I want to save everybody. I want to give to everyone. I want to, I never want to say no.
And that's the zealot in you and the martyr in you, stealing life force. And here is where you can tell your guides to help create a prayer process for yourself that helps heal that part of you that's not ready to give that power up, that wants to stay the martyr.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
That's you taking your wisdom from your guides and imprinting it on yourself as a cyclical prayer process of repetition, so that there's illumination around that subject.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. All right, darling, I got to move on to the next caller. We are packed with 100 people that are waiting, and I won't be able to get to that many. All right, thanks a lot.
I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, Robert, let's move on to the next caller.
Okay, the next caller will be Christy.
Christy, are you there?
Yes.
There's you are whispering. Where are you calling from, Christy?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Where are you calling from?
I'm in Victoria, Australia.
Victoria, Australia. Welcome to the show. How did you find out about me?
I've been in some meditation groups and talking about a lot of the things you discuss, and then saw a video come up on my Facebook of you, and you were talking about Arcturians and things, and I'm like, I've got to check this guy out. And your videos have been amazing.
Great, thank you. So what did you want to talk about today?
Probably ask about where I was from, and also about clearing energy.
What kind of clearing of energy?
Well, I kind of do a lot of meditation and trying to clear with speaking and asking for things to be cleared, and using crystals and nature. And I'm still getting a lot of energy drain.
There we go. Sorry about that. Something going on wrong with my internet there, and all of a sudden I was muted. So I'm sorry, you were clearing, you wanted to know about clearing energy. Can you repeat the question, please? Are you there? Hello? Hello? Are you there, caller? I think we're having a problem with people unmuting themselves. So you have to wait until you are unmuted by the producer and not to click yourself. Yeah, we can hear you now. How you doing there? Can you repeat your question, please? That's great. Can you repeat the question?
I'd just like to find out what's the best way to clear energy.
What kind of energy?
Negative energy. When I find being around a lot of people, I can take on the emotions and feelings. When I go to my heart, I realize it's not mine. Sometimes I have a good way of clearing it, other times I don't.
Okay. How long has this been going on for you?
Quite a long time.
More than 20 years?
Yes.
So first thing you have to understand, it's if you're taking on energy just in a standard conversational moment, there's something that's actually wrong in the way you're using your empathic skills. At some point you became hypersensitive. Are there traumas and violence that have made you hypersensitive?
Maybe traumas, yes.
Well, those traumas are activating your adrenal glands. Excuse me.
Yes.
They're activating your adrenal glands, which are keeping your psychic skills highly, highly tuned.
Okay.
So the first thing to understand is you have to understand that a third of what you're experiencing is only being created by the adrenal glands and repeating programs. The other 2/3 is other people's energy. Okay, so 2/3 of the energy that you're taking on every day is not yours. So where are you putting the energy? You're storing it somewhere else and you're not getting access to it. Have you been having a lot of issues? You know, when you want to go into deep meditation, you really can't do it, and all of a sudden, boom, you have a really powerful one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're really trying to use other people. Just listen what I'm saying. All this excess energy that comes from others has love behind it, whether it's even if it's perverted. And you're filtering that energy so you can have these meditative moments. But in fact, if you learn to save more of your energy and start rejecting everyone else's energy as a blanket rejection of going into myself for a handful of days and not becoming a hermit long term, you will be able to begin to cyclically use your own energy to have even more powerful meditative moments where it really won't be about the meditation. You'll be able to do them at any moment in time. Right now, you have a very powerful Kundalini block right at your L1, right between L1 and T12. You got to really look at some of the emotions in your sexuality too. There's a lot of pent up energy, and that's why it's very easy to filter other people's energy, because love-based energy, to go and have those experiences instead of loving your whole self and the whole body.
Okay.
Okay. Have you been in any relationship, Rips, recently?
Not recently, no. I had a relationship and I've had a son and had quite a bit of stress things with. He's got autism and that's where I think my adrenal glands have just gone crazy with a bit of high stress that we've been dealing with.
Yes. Do you let people do any work on you?
Sometimes yes, not a lot.
We got to get over that.
Yes.
And you got to put a budget aside, because you have a child with autism, because you're dealing with over empathy, and you're having these moments where your awakening is starting to come more and more and more. You know, a month or 3 months or 5 months or a year and a half from now, you won't be able to feed off of the energy of the love around you, because the thoracic wound is going to really grow, as well as the lumbar energy wound is going to grow, and you're not going to have your natural Kundalini awakening.
Yes.
Okay. So it's important that you go and find somebody that can do deep tissue release, craniosacral, myofascial, and get 10 to 12 hours of work. If you really, really want to fix yourself, really delve deep into that healing, those healing sessions. Alternatively, float tanks, those can help a lot, but you really have to start regularly practicing your meditation journeys in those. It can amplify your meditation process 100 to 200 fold if you learn how to use the process within the float tank where you're floating on top of the Epsom salt water, because it can put you into a zero gravity situation where your head is just sitting right and all the muscles go through deep relaxation. And then all of a sudden you'll be in delta for a while. And that's the lucid dreaming state. Right now, your lucid dreaming state is not being powered by your Kundalini. And it should be. This is why you're having powerful meditative moments that end but don't continue for 4, 5, 6 hours, like the powerful lucid dream state.
Yes, it's only short bursts of lots of information and then it stops. And then I haven't really slept very well for a couple of years because my son wouldn't sleep.
Right. And that's also why your adrenal glands are on overload. So it'd be very good for you to go and look for the right supplements for adrenal gland burnout. Iodine's one of those things, as well as some other support stuff for that. How old is your son?
He's just turned 3. And he started sleeping in the last 6 months.
Does he let anyone touch him?
Yes, very huggy, very loving.
All right. Are you familiar with cranial sacral therapy?
Yes. Yep.
There is a special form of cranial sacral therapy called cranial sacral for infants. And I have had gigantic success with autistic children at that age. And that when you use cranial sacral for infants, you can have a full-on somatic release and get them to sleep during the day too. Take regular naps, as well as be right. Now, have you ever seen cranial sacral for children? You know what it's like?
I've only seen adults do it. I haven't seen it on a child, but I'm presuming, is it similar?
Yeah, well, it's very similar. There's very similar positions. They're shorter sessions, but the child, the infant and the toddler will have some like incredible crying, meltdown, positive energies coming out of them. Like the practitioner can go to move their hand away and the baby will pull it back because it's not done with its release.
Okay.
Right, and you can be a little frightening when the baby starts wicking and wailing and crying, and then all of a sudden you see it, and it just lets all this out, and that's stored up tension because he's growing so fast. Now, it doesn't matter if he has autism or not. It is at the pace that he's growing and the tightness of his muscles that are creating a lot of the energetic symptoms that are amplifying his autism. It's the fact that he's allowing himself to be touched, meaning his particular version of autism needs to have more attention to it at a very early age so he doesn't get bent over from stress and begin to get a hunch or any of those other things, as well as having regular cranial sacral for him. Not only will he sleep better, but his focus will be much better. And you going and learning cranial sacral for infants all through the rest of his lifetime will save you countless amounts of frustration.
Yep, that's a good idea. Thank you.
You're
Because
welcome.
he's really in tune, so he can send me messages to tell me what's happening, or I could go hide something in another room and he knows where it is even though he hasn't seen it. So is he working on a whole other level?
All babies are. Autistic children kind of pick it more often than other children who are in between both realities. But yes, he's connected in that way. But he's also curious at this age. Why would you hide it? He doesn't understand that and wants to know why. Okay, I'm going to go look, and now I'm going to go actually look. What did you put there?
Yes. Okay, that makes sense.
Right? That's a curiosity. And that's something you got to play with and make special games with. If he's that connected, start showing it to your family and friends or video record it. I'm going to go hide this over here. How long before he goes and gets it?
Yes.
That's a baby video that can get you 2 million hits on YouTube. The Psychic Kid.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Would you be able to tell us what our soul family is?
Yes. So your soul family is Pleiadian, and your son's soul family is Arcturian.
Okay. So the Arcturians and Pleiadians aren't connected.
No, they're separate species, but oftentimes they live back and forth. You know, they'll go live on their one world for a while and get bored with it a million years later and go to another one and stay there 5 million, then go somewhere else, make a bunch of different lives in a bunch of different places. You're asking about the stream, and that's where your main source energy stream comes from.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. So any other questions that you want to ask?
No, that's it. I'll let you go and speak to somebody else. Thank you very much for the info, and I'll get on to the healing and get some body work done for me and my son.
Make sure you really get in there. All right, thanks a lot for calling.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. All right, Robert, I'm experiencing a little bit of internet thing, so I'm going to turn my video off here because it was starting to cancel up there, and see if that does better for the next caller. Okay, and the next caller. Robert.
Sorry, I'm having some muting problems here. Next caller is going to be Eva K.
Eva, are you there?
Yeah, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, where are you calling from?
Awesome. I'm in Northern California.
Northern California. Welcome to the show. How did you find out about me?
You know, I came across some YouTubes of yours and yeah, was immediately mesmerized.
So what was it about the material that grabbed you?
I think it was a couple of particular callers and what was shared with them as it felt really relevant to me. Mm-hmm. And more broadly speaking, the level of your understanding that you're able to hold and share. Oh, I'm getting all weepy at that. Wow, is profound, and I appreciate that. I haven't found it a lot.
Thank you. So what did you want to talk about today?
You know, mostly my journey has been extremely intense this entire lifetime, but particularly since awakening. And it's all connected to my life purpose and what I'm here to do, which is to help others awaken. And, I used to be an academic, and it wasn't even my idea to leave my academic world. But the universe made it very clear to me that I had this calling. So I know this is the case, and it's only because at knowing that I'm still at it. It's been 12 years since my awakening, 13 years. And so my question for you is if you could look into the records a little bit and maybe share with me something about who I am, my heritage, my role, and why this journey would have been so challenging. Obviously, I have my own ideas, but I have a feeling that some information you might get might be helpful.
So tell me about the very beginning of your awakening. You said it was about 12, 13 years ago?
Yeah.
Where were you then? Kind of give me the very first a quick synopsis of what your awakening was like, the early part.
Totally. I was actually in Iowa City, and I was a professor. And
a professor of what?
Psychology.
Okay.
And the downward spiral actually started at the end of my grad school when several things happened that were really traumatic. And so by the time I got to Iowa to begin that position, I was not in a position to do well, which I understand I was on purpose, but it was not until 2005, actually, when I saw Amma, not knowing at all what I was doing, that I had this huge healing crisis and everything came crashing down. So in 2006, several individuals showed up in the small town of Iowa City who were healers and intuitives. And, even I got the message. So I started to take some courses, and 3 different people basically told me, who didn't know me in different settings, that I had a calling to do this work. And I didn't even believe in it. And then suddenly I had healing energies come through me in a way that it was very clear that had nothing to do with me. And it was the first time that I thought there's something out there, really. So it took all of that to get me to leave my academic position and to actually stick with it. And, you know, the synchronicities and the experiences have been profound, and yeah, all of it was needed. So I'm still here now.
How long was it before you started charging for sessions?
I don't know, maybe 3, 4, 5 years. But part of the issue is the reason this transition, I feel like I'm coming to a tail end of this transition. My health, I thought I would get well really quickly. You know, I was diagnosed with a lot of things, multiple sclerosis and all kinds of things back then. But my transformation has been so intense. I had no idea there was a spiritual path and ascension and all of that. So I have barely been able to do my work. I just had to focus on myself. And I realize that I'm doing so much work on all these other levels. And I feel it's also a lot of interference, that all of it has been necessary to get me a level of surrender, trust, and empowerment that I'm finally getting to now. And I really feel, you know, yeah, I'm about ready to really do my work.
How many sessions would you say you do in a month now?
You know, very few. It's only if someone comes to me and I really realize I have a soul contract with them. I still focus on my own work, maybe 2, if that, but it really depends.
2 in a month?
Yeah.
All right, so I got to be brutal and blunt here. You're at a point you should be doing 15 a month minimum. And part of your healing journey is getting clients under your belt, paid clients under your belt. To be the healed healer this lifetime means you still have to work on your inner self enough so that you know you can begin to work on others. And it's a continuing journey. There's always another stone to unturned, always another stone to unturned. You know, even for people like myself, I always am revealing new aspects of myself and different things that need to be worked on. It's a matter of understanding, do we take it slow and understand, or do we load everything up to a dump truck and send it out of our frequency? And what I'm seeing is a lot of you filling up the dump trucks and not really understanding the details of what you're getting out. Does this make sense?
Not entirely.
So let me give you a better theme or an idea here. You like to work fast and to clear this stuff and get it done and over with. Yes or no?
I would have liked that, yes. That has not been my experience for myself.
Right. But there's still a subtle control aspect when you sit down and do your inner work that I'm going to collect this much accomplishment. You can't go into healing like that.
Yes.
And there's still a subtle inner part of you that's still controlling. And these are your parasympathetic programs of self-diffusion of energy. Okay. Now you talk about that you went to go start the job in Aya and you just weren't ready and it was a setup for failure. It was partially a spiritual contract to determine if you would fail or pass at that time. And if you were able to pass that particular journey and take on the job and take on all the students that wanted to see you in high-powered energy, there was going to be all this other stuff available for you. And as you began to try to grow at that job and realize it was very, very tough for you, you had to go down the spiritual path of the awakening where you didn't have a lot of those people in your lifetime. And now right now there's a lot of lonely energy in you too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Why? Why have you let it grow so much?
It's not on, none of that was on purpose. That was just for me.
Well, for some reason it's there now and it's controlling your reality. And you have to see that the very subtle aspects over many years has steered your course away from people where you should have many more people around you assisting you on your journey. And you have a very stubborn side of asking for help.
Of asking or not asking?
Asking real help when you're in real trouble. When you're in those dark night of the soul 6-8 years ago, okay? You didn't ask, you didn't reach out enough. You thought you could do it all on your own, right? I know you've had long bouts of, I'll do it all on my own, right?
Yeah, those were a long time ago. Those were a long, long time ago.
And that is what is holding you back now. And I want you to see it not as a trauma, but as burden and weight you no longer need to carry. All the trial and error of the past, you got to let it go. Start with a clean, healing slate and come in with no expectations. That's the first thing. Once you're able to get all of those expectations out, a whole new layer of healing will be available to you. You do have very powerful healing skills, but for some reason, you're not using the fullest of it on yourself. And that's the internal part of you who separates yourself from getting a healing every time you give a healing.
Absolutely. When I do work with someone, it's very profound what happens, but I have not been able to, for the most part, do or have that experience with myself. I mean, it happens randomly. I have very deep experiences of healing, but yeah, I haven't been able to apply that work to myself for some reason.
There's a big reason. There's an internal parasympathetic program that has so much potency behind it, it's blocking you from using your own creative inspiration on yourself.
Can you unpack that? What do you mean this?
It stems back from when you were a 13-year-old girl going through your period, not really having somebody that you could look up to at that era as a woman growing.
Interesting.
Hey, what was your relationship with your mother or other women at that age?
My relationship with my mom was actually pretty good. I think it's the only thing that got me through what was going on early in life.
Sure, but what was your mom going through?
Yeah, she was going through a lot. She had to get a divorce and didn't have any education, really no one else, to help her out. So she had to really fend for herself.
And as a very young girl, you took that on as a sponge. Absolutely. And it is a program inside you that you're giving energy away to your mother and you're not giving energy to yourself, or you're focusing your empathetic skills on your mother and taking on some of her qualities of being overworked, overstressed, which has now burdened you at the energetic level. Right?
Absolutely. I did a lot of that. I mean, I started already in the womb space. I definitely know that all of that. So I've been doing a lot of work on that. Absolutely.
So are you familiar with my contract revocations?
Yes, I am.
Have you done this union and communion consciousness strike?
I have done that one. I have to be honest. I know it's very powerful, but I'm having a really hard time with it because it's just not how I function. So a lot of it I don't understand. So when I say it, then it doesn't have the potency. And I've always been a person who has wondered, why is an intention not good enough? Why does the wording need to be exactly that? So I've been working with it and trying, I'm using this word on purpose, to get into it, yet I have that disconnect there, if that makes sense.
Yes, and this disconnect goes back into why you can't use your skill on yourself. So it's something for you to begin to not debate the words and understand it's still an emanation teaching, and you can learn from just the emanation of the words, not knowing the meanings. And after a while, they begin to reveal. And it's not repetition for repetition's sake. It's repetition that creates illumination. That's why I wrote it for so long. It takes around 20 to 30 minutes to read. And it's like the equivalent of a 30K race, an energetic 30K race. You just can't pick it up and do it and run the 30K race. You might pull the spiritual muscle. And that's another apprehensive part of what makes it easy for us to argue for our limitations. Okay. You can also rewrite it, but the challenge is in the frequency that it's in, because the whole point of this union and communion consciousness strike is to learn to say no at the many subtle layers that are trying to control you, so that you are solely in your body and your own frequency in peace, union, and communion. That's the constant declaration throughout that, disconnecting from forced evolution, not allowing exchange. What part of you wants to allow exchange with those things that don't see you as a being of conscious choice?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is why you're finding it so hard to take on those 15 clients a month.
Oh man, I would love them. I would absolutely love them. I just have not felt well enough to do that. I would have loved to do that. It was very hard for me to not use my work because I didn't feel well enough to do that. I would have felt that would have done myself and the others a disservice. Having said that, I really do feel like I'm at a huge shift right now
Right.
that I can actually move forward. So
what work are you having people do for you right now?
oh, no, I can't afford it. And I mean that quite literally. I mean, I not being able to do my work, yeah.
When is the last time you've been able to have anybody work on you?
I don't remember. Yeah, I really have no idea.
More than a year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, in individual personal work, yeah, for sure.
So is there anybody you know you can start trading with?
Not really.
Is this because your lonely energy has gotten so much that it's hard for you to stay and meet people?
No, not at all.
What is it?
The individuals I am connected with, there has been that are at a level that I feel I actually would receive rather than ending up doing the work.
Right. That's ego talking. That's ego talking.
Very few. And it's not coming from ego. It's just what I know and feel.
I'm telling you right now, that's ego that's stopping you from over a year of healing, and you're in constant physical pain and spiritual pain. And that's the part of you that won't step up and say, I need help. Even if it's a person that's not a good healer, you need healing right now. And the longer you deny it and the longer you have powerful arguments for the limitation that go on longer than a year, it's going to be very tough for you to jump into that higher level. You've got to ask the universe for the right person in the right moment in the right time, and know that they will do what is needed. Until such a time, the right persons can come in. If you keep avoiding, more than a year is way too much. There is a deep program that's stopping that. All this signature frequency talk is cool, but you still understand you need to actually action it at some point. That's how you change the synchronicities around you, by showing the universe, I can receive now. Please help, universe. Universe is not working against you right now. It's working for you. You just have to see the many opportunities that are there. It's like going and fishing and catching really small fish. You can keep them if you're starving, or you can put them back. But that's still a gift from those people that you're stopping yourself from having. And if the part of you that says you're going to do the work and heal them, that's a part of you that won't shut off and allow healing. Allow them to do their work. Like paying a yard maintenance guy to come over and cut the grass and trim the hedges, and every time he comes over, you cut the grass and trim the hedges. Why are you paying them? Where you're at is you need cyclical someone to come in and cut the grass and trim the hedges so you can advance faster as a healer, instead of you're doing all the micro work, all the do-it-yourself stuff. Start trading your skill sets, especially for people who aren't as advanced. You'll really help them advance from working on a complex being like you.
Yes, and I've had, I wouldn't say there were sessions. I do very much follow my guidance. I will definitely really listen and deeper look into that, what you're sharing, because I obviously value your perspective and input. I used to host these divine council calls where we would all get together on the phone and basically co-create that call, and I meet interesting beings that I can't connect with that way. And so there were have been groups where we would meet in smaller groups and one-on-one, and those were amazing exchanges. There weren't exactly any trades that happened because of the individuals and what was involved, but so I will reflect on that. It doesn't quite resonate with me, but maybe it's my resistance. So
Your resistance right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're over a year since anyone's really worked on you. It's probably longer, much longer than a year. And you just got to see that as a deep resistance program. I'm just the canary in the coal mine saying, hey, 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 look, look, look. If you don't want to, you don't want to. But your question, in the very beginning is what you can do to get yourself advancing faster. Get cyclical healing. Very important. Now, the other medical ailments you've got going, a lot of those are energies you took on from 13, 14, 15, some dream world issues going on in your early teens and some haunting in your 20s. Those created a weakness in your energetic field, but they also created an extreme sensitivity to the mystical world, which is what your spirit tried to create as a fetus in the blueprint, for you to be a highly tuned spiritual instrument of perception. No doubt about that. You are great at that. What can you do to advance it beyond so you can use it for a different level instead of these meet and greet groups?
Yeah, it's interesting because another part of, besides doing the individual work that I'm here to do energetically, about 2 years ago, I had the information drop in that I am actually to create, really co-create an online global community that's of a whole other level because of the individuals that are involved. And my sense is, and yeah, I've been sitting with it and seeing about moving forward, and there too, the time is finally here. And actually you were one person I was guided to contact about that. Whether that's right or not, that's another story. But my sense is that my individual work is actually also tied together to creating that online community, which will help the individuals who are a part of it as facilitators, contributors, and masses of awakening individuals. And I never thought, because I'd like to work by myself, I used to be a real perfectionist, that I would be called to do that. But it's it's quite clear to me if that resonates or not. So I feel that's a big part of what I'm here to do, to actually find the people, bring them together, and bring that into form.
So it's going to require a lot of networking and social skills.
Absolutely.
A lot of technical skills.
Well, someone with technical skills, and someone has shown up in that regard just recently. So the right people have been showing up for that.
Okay. Well, I want you to understand something. When you jump into the realm of business, the nature of your business is going to be spirit. And the spirit of business and the business of spirit is going to be your job.
Yes.
Okay?
Absolutely.
That means you really got to start fortifying your reality from now. This is why I'm saying it's so vital for you to get healing now, even if it's not the right people. They are offering you a gift. And you got to start taking these gifts so that your greater work can have a greater impact.
Right. Right.
So
right.
you said you don't have any budget for healing whatsoever.
Yeah.
Do you have a bathtub?
Well, I don't even live in any particular place. I'm basically on the move.
How long have you been on the move for? How long you been on the move for?
Since I was guided to go back to the Bay Area, like 2012.
That is a long time.
You trust me, absolutely.
That's a trauma that you can't do anymore.
Absolutely. It's
What's it going to take for you to get out of that situation?
It's been taking, well, what I sense to come exactly into the level of surrender, trust, and empowerment that I am finally coming into. There's still some cleaning up to do that I sense. There's a health challenge in particular that I've been having that I think is tied into not just this life trauma, but very deep trauma from many other levels. And so I feel that's my final empowerment that I've kind of set up to come into wholeness with, which will
Sure. You're supposed to
allow
be
me to do my work at a whole other level.
Sure, but you're supposed to be intact with secure, stable home so you can go and do that.
Trust me, that was my idea when I left my academic career. I had no idea this transition would take that long.
Have you ever gone on public assistance?
Huh?
On public assistance.
Well, yeah, I never did because I never thought it would take that long.
You're 6 years later. There's at some point 3 years through it. You're like, I'm broke and I don't have any place to live. You didn't think about that?
Of course, I have.
You didn't follow through.
I didn't for a reason, because once you start engaging in that system, it's a lot harder to get back out of it. But so, yeah.
Years later, you've tortured yourself a lot more than you could have gone on public assistance 3 years ago and been a lot more advanced here. I got to help you see some of these grander mistakes that you've made. Not allowing healing, not going on public assistance, allowing yourself to couch surf for 6 years. That's doing more damage to you now than your sicknesses is. You could heal from these sicknesses just by being in a stable environment, so you could have a cyclical place to know that this is my space, that I make sacred for myself, my special nest.
Absolutely. Trust me, you're speaking to the converted.
But you're not on public assistance now, are you?
No, I'm not.
So then, yeah, I'm preaching to the choir who isn't converted. I know, you have to see that. And that's once again that deep inner program of denial. Not taking the help that's being offered, government or not. I really want you to deeply think about that.
Okay? Yeah, I mean, I have, and as I said, I definitely will.
Do it now. Just go do. Every day you wait, you do more damage to yourself. Okay? All right, darling, I got to let you go and go on our break real quick, and then we are going to come back after the break and continue with calls.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Right, take it easy.
Bye.
All right, Robert. Yep, let's go and take us on our break, and we'll be back in, I believe, how long, Robert? As he's fiddling with his mute.
That will be approximately 11 minutes is the video.
All right, we'll be back in 11 minutes, everyone. What is trust? How many different expressions of trust are there? But it's really about understanding the various sides that trust has. How do you define trust? The dictionary belief of trust is a firm belief, faith, certainty, or a reliance thereof. Think about that for a second. Belief, faith. We know that we are more than we've heard, read, or studied. How do we trust that part of us? How do we trust the part of us that says we're mystical, we're unique, we're special? How do we earn that trust? We do that through ceremony, through the different processes of action that turns knowledge into wisdom. But for the purpose of this expression, let's look at the word trust at its seen and its unseen level. How is trust earned and lost? Through action and inaction. Oftentimes, subtle judgment in our innate trusting expression itself is what limits our spirit. It is the true power of choice between judgment and trust. I want you to conceive this for a second. You trust that your heart beats to keep you alive. You trust that your brain works to keep you in thought structure. You trust your ears when you hear. We do not always trust every memory that we have. Why do we innately judge trusting in spirit? My answer is because we have been born over and over again, gone through the great forgetting numerous times. And our trust in spirit has been eroded as I am technology who has had to earn spirit's mystical presence over and over again. And we go, how do I, this individual being of this moment, earn trust in myself? We earn trust in ourselves by acting daily with an impeccable nature. Can we create an image of trust? Can we create a sigil of trust? Do we even need to? Each and every individual being will be hearing these words from their own trusted individual perspective. So there's thousands of points of view that can be described here. And the heart is aware of all of them because the heart is spirit connected with the technology. This is where trust has a seen and an unseen side. To get people to expand their knowingness, the word trust has a mythos behind it. Tens of thousands of lifetimes past that have created a soup of this expression and this experience. Our experience in trust subtly guides all of our conceptions, perceptions, misperceptions, and deceptions. Gather that into yourself. Perceptions, misperceptions, deceptions, on all of those other action verb-based words that just describe that process. Bring all that thought imagery, thought structure to your heart and express through your heart to your auric field, I trust in my spirit. I trust in my body. I trust that physical experience of 1 + 1 = 2. I trust my knowingness when the choice comes that I will expand my wisdom and do the right action or inaction. Trust is a waypoint in which I can accept the greater spirit working with me, or I can begin to erode the greater spirit working with me. So look to your heart. And this is something that you'll be able to go back to and make a whole list of things and questions that you could put to your heart in a combined meditative process. So great heart that is you in this ever-present moment of now. Let's look at the interdependency that spirit and trust have. Trust is self-empowerment. Do you trust yourself with the power? There are a lot of people that are having that little giggle to themselves. Trust in the power. You ready to bear the responsibility of living in the now, having a continuous upkeep with the spirit world? That is what's asked of you if you are going to function at a higher density, higher dimensional level. Are you going to trust yourself enough to be a disciplined master of energy? Because this is the time that the shamans step forward, the thought leaders step forward, the great spirit creators step forward, and we out-create the system. Trust has many seen and unseen scales in the subtle energy and background. Until we can learn to see the subtle energy field around us, trust as a concept will be limited to our 5 senses, combined with our 6th sense, which is to be judgment-free. A judgment-free point of view is, in essence, a sacred neutral point of view. Another way of metaphor of describing it is on the unseen level, we trust when we have spiritual communication. Sometimes we empower our background energy with tremendous amounts of trust. That is when we are in our specialized circles, our place of sanctuary. And when trust of those placed is broken or harmed, it does some of the greatest damage to our knowingness. Until we can learn to see the subtle energy field around us, trust is a concept. Trust as the concept will be limited to our 5 senses, combined with our 6th sense, which is to be judgment-free. So many of us trust, so much of our trust and mistrust moments exist without fully understanding the moment and all of its infinite possibilities that come in a moment of choice-based trust. Choice-based trust.
I ask you, just think about that. Choice-based trust. I've iterated this now several times through this so that I hammer in the frequency. Trusting is choice. How do we stop the projections of others' mistrust upon us? That's step one, is contract revocation, ceremony, and trusting in yourself enough to give yourself energy to overcome self-doubt. How do we let go of the over-trusting energies that suppresses our clear intentions? This relates to that first question of how do we stop the projections of mistrust of others? How do we let go of the over-trusting energies that suppresses our clear intentions of the potential of gullibility? This is where we give away the greatest amounts of our power in most minuscule levels. And trust is one of those choice exchange points of energy where you are beginning to think dual track. I can trust this person that's in front of me. I trust him enough to give him the universal love, but I don't need to give him my core frequency of love. Ooh, subtle judgment coming from the audience, isn't that? Ha, ha. You see, there are many ways that I can pose this expression. You are in charge of your energy field, and trust is the key. Do you trust yourself enough to not worry about the projections and judgments of others if you still give them universal energy, but not any of your core frequency? Relationships. So that is another thing where trust at the most subtle levels can really get you into trouble. Trust is a two-sided and sometimes a three-sided sword. It makes zealots out of us. We innately trust that X person that is my family member will never do something. And then one day that family member discovers heroin or some other kind of drugs, and they're robbing from everyone because they're hooked on something. Broken trust once again. Gullibility once again. Or some other form of over-trusting. But at the end, you must trust yourself enough to internally say, when the healing is over, I return to zero, balance all energy I have exchanged with this being so that I do not create a change in frequency. I, the individual being of this now, have the sovereign, trusting right of myself to make sure that this is an immaculate, impeccable exchange of energy that is brought to the sacred neutral balance so no misperception is created. Do you trust yourself to be that sacred neutral when you end a treatment or begin a treatment? Trust in yourself to work with great spirit and great mystery that is working through all of the universe. Trusting in spirit is important. All right, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. I am going to continue to do some teaching here. I'm finding that the energy is coming back with everyone that has been waiting for some super high frequency stuff. So what I'm going to read you is something from the Dragon webinar. It's the next Dragon revocation invocation. I want everyone to just
Sit back and relax. It's going to take me about 15 minutes to read. Okay. Just focus, relax, open yourself. Okay. Try to hear these words, embody these words as we take this moment to make teaching sacred. I call to myself in this moment. I allow my greater self this moment to be here for this new dragon revocation invocation. I call to my sacred celestial medicine spread. I call to my dragon guides, those who have been with me since the dawn of all of my eternal births. I call to my earth mother, who holds celestial medicine space for my sacred dream of dreaming. Aho, mother of all dragon kind of our time-space equation. I ask you to come and sit in elder council with the communal I am precognitive workforce. Aho, dragon kind that is in service to the fifth and sixth worlds of universal peace. Come sit in sacred fire with all of our I am selves in service to the fifth and sixth worlds of peace. I speak to the spirit of the peacemaker's fire. Aho, friend fire. I ask you to carry my prayer words to the seven directions of life flow. Aho, friend crow, guardian of sacred universal law. Sit with us and co-create this message of universal ceremonial peace. Aho, my spirit friends. I honor you in these moments of moments with these words of unity. The time is now and the power is in the eternal, internal, external self-honesty of peace. We, the living beings of the manifest now, bear the responsibility of acting in the now. We each have an inner responsibility of self-exploration, self-reflection, and self-honesty that defeat habit patterns that create false illumination. Your dragon kind are here to be teachers in new layers and levels of reflection, helping us pull back the membranes of cooperative separation, creating the duality we perceive and believe in. I now break all contracts, vows, and agreements with the previous generation's definitions of dragons. I break the myths in every time stream, galaxy, and universe I exist on for the expressed purpose of knowing dragons this lifetime without other lifetimes interfering what is in potential just for me during this great dream time awakening. I call to my perception that subtly uses the global narrative as myth. I now deconstruct the myth of the global narrative and how it uses dragons as an enlightenment trap from times of the past, making our perception that we are not worthy, for our ancestors walked with dragons in the physical manifest. I now bring back to sacred, neutral, innocent point of view my perception and perspective of dragons and how they interact with all species kind in this great Dreamtime awakening. I now enter the global Dreamtime grid of Earth's north and south poles. I use the northern and southern aurora borealis as my Dreamtime hub of interconnectivity with the 10,000 past generations and the 10,000 future generations. I summon my dragon celestial spirit guides, those who have been with me since the dawn of all of my eternal births, within Earth Mother's space of spaces. So I may drive forward the Dreamtime hologram of my great Dreamtime awakening into self-mastery of my holographic time-space equation as a soul in a soul family within the Galactic Ascension machine. I co-create a dreamer's handbook for all sentient dreaming kind to connect with their inner dragon teachers. Today is the day we all walk out in the global narrative and buy into our species' legacy hidden within race amnesia. It'll be our dragon teachers who sit with us in elder council, training the trainers of the 1 million letter celestial alphabet. So we are no longer chained to a limitation of our expression in our natural languages passed down throughout our history. We become now the unvanquished dream of peace. I set down ceremonial roots with my dragon familiar kind. We have become the friend of friends while on the journey to the unlimited point of view and now the unlimited 0 point of experience. Today, in no time, I co-create my masterful manifestation of vision for my vision of my spirit and its relations to dragon kind, our mediums to the celestial alphabet, our teachers and way showers and light sound vibrations. For every sacred breath I take, I give prayers to the ancients, past, present, and future, for they hold the mantle of responsibility of being ancient. Aho, unseen ancients who have walked this path before. We see your trail markings, telling us the path is not broken, the way is clear. Aho, ancient ones who walk the stars and beyond. Today, I set down roots with my celestial traveling guide. I am honored, dragon, to ride with you. We ride to the stars and beyond, to the places not mapped, not seen by awareness-based beingness. Aho, my bonded dragon, we met in the fetus of the great mother's eternal womb. We travel the dreamtime streams of conscious awareness. In dreamtime, we ride to find the unlimited point of view as masterful manifestors of the dream weave. Aho, dragons of the eternal struggle of awareness of all that is, was, and ever will be. Tonight, we ride to the ends of the universe as superluminal, time-space transversing beings of peace. We are the peacemakers and peacekeepers, riding the waves of time-space, spreading the message. We are creating it all. I call to my celestial guides, the dragons of Alcanor. Come hold, sacred celestial medium, council of oneness. Sit with us in elder council as peacekeepers and peacemakers as we finish the process of karma while accepting our dharmic path of masterful outcreation of the repetition that yields no illumination and karmic resolution. We bonded with our celestial guardian to break away from the false hologram of light and become the dragon riders of Earth Mother's realms. Unchained from our global narrative of limitation, unbound from our ideologies of sacrifice and martyrdom. Our service is not in sacrifice. It is with joyful, bounding strides we take on this awesome responsibility of being mediums to time. I choose to clear myself deeper than I have ever before. I call to Earth, to Mother Ayahuasca, to come hold cleansing sacred space. I call to Grandfather San Pedro to come hold sacred grandfather space for celestial medium rebirth into higher frequency beingness. I call to brother and sister plant communities holding sacred dream space in Earth's concrete jungles. Come hold modern sacred space with our prayers of ending the eternal struggle. We all become peacekeepers and peacemakers by sitting in the elder council of the self. Here in the temple of the I Am, we evolve our very meaning of life. We accept our multidimensional thinking as our legacy and birthright. We accept our roles as source-connected beings on the path to celestial mediumship. Aho, my bonded dragon, I ride into the dreamtime oceans afar. Ready your wings, flex your muscles, do your dragon yoga, so we may breathe the fire of creation to those still held in the iron grip of mediocrity. Aho, my dragon brother, this dreamtime eve, we ride the 7 directions of all that is, was, and ever will be, through the sea of consciousness, into the oceans of awareness, to the eye of the universe we ride, into the realms of other sources, to bring the message of the peacemakers and peacekeepers to the aunt and uncle sources, our source ancestors who hold sacred space for our source. Aho, brother and sister sources, beyond the veil of our source's light. We ride into ever after to greet you as source-connected ancestors on the path of peace. Spreading the word, we are creating it all. Aho, grandfather source and grandmother source. We greet you with time-honored blessings of source-connected knowingness of all that is, was, or ever will be. We bring to you the gifts of the sacred pipe of peace. We bring to you our grandmother earth, the sacred shawl of clan mothers, in honor of your holding space for the children of the sources. Oh, great grandfather storyteller source, we bring you gifts of spirit, of our stories of victories, our counting coups over our self-defeating habits, over doubts of our divine source and nature, so you may teach the younger sources what courage is needed to face the void and outcreate nothingness with the sheer joy of creation. Aho, grandfather storyteller source, tell us a story we may bring back to Earth Mother's realm. Tell us your wisdom, great grandfather storyteller source. Aho, children of the earth, of the great Dreamtime awakening. Let me tell you a story. Many eras of light ago, long along came a dreamer, dreaming the great dream of peace. This was the first peacemaker of all peacemakers to come. He rode a dragon just like you. His dragon's name was Jacorin. The peacemaker honored no other name for himself other than peacemaker. He spoke of times to come when celestial sources would be at odds with each other and their children would fight each other for meaningless control of infinite space. He told stories of a special race of beings who held the title of the unvanquished dream, the Invictus. These dreamers dreaming the great dream of peace throughout all time space. Each was source connected and interconnected to all of the sources of peace. The peacemaker came from the realms of the unvanquished dream of universal peace. He traveled from beyond the galaxies and stars through universal portals yet in creation. He rode his dragon to bring the message of peace to all that is, was, and ever will be, and all sources who hold space for you, source-connected beings of awareness, swimming in the sea of universal consciousness. I see you, this very essence, rebirthed into this new creation, reincarnated to repeat the message of peace. Now there is eternal illumination present in these ever-present moments. I honor you, peacemaker of all peacekeepers yet to come. You are truly the unvanquished dream, reminding us all we are creating it all. Grandfather storyteller source comes closer to the sacred fire, peering into our infinite existence. He blends his interconnectedness with all that is, was, and ever will be. He says to you, children of earth, you are the unvanquished dream of peace. We honor you in our halls of Akashic Records, teaching other celestial minds what courage is needed to face the void of misperception of all that is, was, and ever will be. Aho, peacemaker, unvanquished great dreamer of peace. We shall tell stories of your journeys to the stars and beyond that will reach those on the path out of race amnesia and into a knowingness that is profound healing. Aho, children of earth. You are our legacy of a future founded and grounded in peace. We ask you to bring love and joy and perfect harmony in order to reach fifth density awareness, to meet and greet our dragon teachers and spirit guides. Aho.
Aho. Powerful, powerful, powerful words. I want all of you to just to sit back and relax a minute. Allow those words to come through. Be one with them. We are going to do one more session. So Robert, bring on the next caller.
Okay, I'm going to try this time one of our phone callers ending in 743.
743, are you there? As everyone is looking to see if they end in 743. Going once. Going twice. Oh.
We don't remember our phone numbers anymore these days.
Yes. I don't remember my own phone number. I just had to use WhatsApp, and I'm like, what the hell's my own number? And next one.
Okay, next one will be John West.
John West, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing today?
Wow. Good.
Okay. How did you find out about me?
Through a law group a long time ago.
Oh, interesting. So what do you think of the show so far?
Pretty good. Surprised to reach you.
Okay. So what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I'd like to talk about walk-ins.
Okay. What about them?
So, if a person wants to volunteer their physical body, how might one request a walk-in and prepare themselves for that event?
Doesn't work that way. Not at all. No, that's done long before your birth.
What?
It's done long before your birth when you're in a fetus in the womb.
So you can't challenge that?
No. No, you just can't. I'm going to be a walk-in and do it. Otherwise, the reality would never survive and domination control would never work if you could just let someone walk into the shit you left behind.
Wow.
No karmic resolution. It's just giving up your place and your frequency and allowing yourself open to entities of abuse.
Huh. Okay, I was a little shocked about that answer.
It's not like law. There's not gray areas. It's is or it isn't.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Is that something you thought you wanted to do?
Yes.
Why?
Better realms out there.
No, everything is meant to be here. You're going to get out there and you're going to realize you had like the golden ticket from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You're going to be kicking yourself in the ass for the next 50 million years.
Okay.
It may seem shitty down here, but when you're up there, it's 50 color experiencing time here. But we just don't see it because we're not exposed to the fullness of our reality. Our global narrative won't allow reality to be reality till such a time we don't agree to the global narrative.
Huh.
And they create that affect our placebo belief engine.
Okay.
So do you have any other questions you want to ask, or is that it?
Yeah, just one more, I guess.
Okay.
How can one get out of body more easily? How about just simple that?
Prayer and dedicated hard work on working on yourself. It actually takes a lot of energy to get out of body, and many people have those experiences, but it burns up so much of their available energy. Sometimes it's years before they have another one, and other people figure out the technique where it doesn't burn up the energy. It's prayer for what? Setting the space so when you go to have a regular experience, you're learning to practice it. And the bookend of the prayer is I'm opening a sacred space, protecting my physical body, nurturing myself with high frequency energies, doing some form of meditation that brings you deeper and deeper into your body so that when you leave your body, you have a more intense experience. So many people just want to go up and fly to the world. Well, guess what? You got to be in your body so that the body can experience it as a memory. That's multidimensional living, building that skill set of being in the body and still using the sensory, all the sensory parts of the DNA instrument that we have that's constantly showing us all forms of psychic data that can be a form of out-of-body experience, remote viewing, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, or any of the other clair whatevers. But practice, prayer, dedication, and the courage to commit to it. It's not like a weight loss program you can just go and learn and expect to do it. It don't work like that.
Okay.
Always things we're uncovering about ourselves that are our arguments for limitations. Positive one for you to do is think of the top 5 things you didn't want to go and do, and what are the arguments for the limitations, or the arguments for the limitations that stop you from advancing and whatever, and create counter arguments, arguments for doing, so that there's not an innate part of you that stops you from experiencing the whole points of the teaching.
Alrighty.
All right. Anything else? Is that it?
That'd be it.
All right, Rob. All right, cool. Well, Robert, we'll do one more call because that was a quick one.
All righty, our next caller will be MP. I have to sort through the list here to find him real quick.
Hello. Hey, Andrew. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing today? What's your name?
Mario.
Hey, Mario. How you doing?
Doing well. Doing well. I'm
Well,
a bit surprised that I'm on here as well.
How did you find out about me?
I've been listening to you on and off for I guess a few years now.
All right, cool. So what did you want to talk about?
You know, I just wanted to, I guess, just ask some generic questions. What is my connection to the area that I live in, or the land that I live in?
Where are you living at now?
In Kentucky.
What part of Kentucky?
Around the Lexington, Kentucky area.
That's you got a lot of Civil War stuff blocking your capacity to actually connect to the land there. You have a lot of Native American in that particular area. Their energies were suppressed. You are in the body that you're in, and you have DNA lineages to a variety of Native American and a variety of others that you don't even know that you have in you because of the lineage that you're in. But I actually don't think that's the best place for you to be. I think there's too much Civil War energy there for you. That's going to block your greater connections. Have you had to do a lot of pushing out of the Civil War energy to stay grounded there?
Oh yeah, constantly, almost.
Why do you stay in it?
I really don't know. I think I really don't know. Where would you suggest is a better place for me?
What do you do as a job?
Insurance.
You could do that anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I know.
How long you been doing insurance for?
Probably since I guess the 90s, or
Okay.
well, early 2000s.
So literally, you could do it anywhere in the world.
Okay.
What's ever stopped you from saying, I don't want to go, I want to go do this in the rest of the world? Anyway.
Well, you know what, though? I have lived other places in the world. I've just always been drawn back to this place and just kept coming back.
So what about something like the Blue Ridge Mountains up north?
It's yeah. I've lived in Pennsylvania. I lived around those Appalachian Mountains and different things. So I've been other places.
Are you wanting to live in the city, or are you living outside?
I would like to live outside the city myself. I like nature, but I do like the city. But
right. Have you ever been to the Serpent Mound in Circleville, Ohio?
No, I have not.
Have you ever gone and researched any of the Native American mounds that are all around you right now?
Yes, I have. I have researched the Serpent Mounds. I actually said I was going to take a trip up there one weekend or something.
I would really highly advise you to find a list of dozens of them and start every weekend making a journey to go, even if it's a half-day trip or a day trip. Mm-hmm. You just got to start getting out and feeling the energies of these places. And stop feeling all that Lexington Civil War energy. It's really, really affecting you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got another quick question. Do I have any connection to like Lemuria or Atlantis or any kind of a warrior past?
Everyone does. Everyone defended this world when they were trying to annihilate it from universal existence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know, what would you say? I guess my background is, or where I've come from.
I got to give it the right English so you understand. So, you're technically Atlantean, but Atlanteans were lost in time for a really long time. And many of them that were lost in time figured out how to get back in time, and they became Lemurians and didn't realize that the Lemurians and Atlanteans were the same beings, both lost in time from different cultures that had found themselves out. Before you were here on Earth, you didn't have one world you particularly liked. You lived in hundreds and hundreds, but you made a mass migration here and began unifying yourself on this world and all the different timeline frequencies. So really, you're a local bred boy on this planet for the last 60 million years. Okay? But you have a lot of, let's just say, out of time issues. Big portions and aspects of your soul's great victories are outside of this, your awareness, even in the Akashic records of your awareness in your lineage. And it'll take some form of medium at the celestial level to help you unpack and uncode what your soul's big journey and purpose here is. Now, we as micro beings, sometimes we just can't understand or fathom what these big versions of ourselves are doing. But that big version of us doesn't exist without us making choices to be aware, even just trying a micro little minuscule bit. And when you're asking about that warriorship, I said, everyone does that. Do you have a special little part? Yeah, that's why you're in Lexington, Kentucky, experiencing that war energy to remind you that, hey, there's a part of you that's got to step up as the spiritual warrior and do some form of battle with the self. So there's more motivation, more inspiration, more self-healing, more self-nurturing, letting go of the shame, blame, and guilt in your life, and allowing the spiritual warrior to take up those battlegrounds in the internal self to strengthen your conviction of change.
Okay. So I guess that what you just said in a nutshell is my purpose is just sort of like an onion to be revealed little by little.
You have to break out of your shell and be willing to start being more public.
Okay. I am private.
Right. And that's a detriment to your journey right now of getting people to recognize you as a spiritual leader or a warrior or anything like that. Mm-hmm. If you're a hermit, well, tough luck. Next great dream time awakening 100 million years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay. Well, thank you. That answered quite a few questions. Some of them I already knew innately, but just hadn't come around to just facing that part, facing the truth, I would say.
Now it's time for you to shine the light on that truth and get get yourself moving. Get out of the Lexington area. Go find somewhere that isn't Civil War battle territory.
Yeah. What about Colorado? You like Colorado? Got Colorado a decent place?
Yeah, I have my own reservations for you in Colorado. New Mexico, much better. Taos, New Mexico.
Okay.
Any of the New Mexico. Texas could be okay. Believe it or not, Biloxi in that particular area, in that valley area, in the River Valley area, could be very beneficial to you. And then Canada can be good for you too if you want to live in the cold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. It's very funny. I've always had a lot of luck in Biloxi every time I go down there. So
there you go.
Very funny you said that.
That's a very big beneficial city for you. A lot of positive things can happen for you there.
Okay. Well, Andrew, thank you. I've been trying to get on for a while, and I'm very thankful I got on it today.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Have a great day. Bye.
All right, Robert, that is going to be our last caller. So I want to thank everyone who has, hold on one second. All right, so I'm sorry, I just flubbed that whole thing. For anyone that wants to get hold of any information on the website, you can contact mpa@galactichistorian.com, or if you'd like to book a private session or find out what's coming up, go to our website, andrewbartzis.com, and sign up for the email list. All right, everybody, we'll be back for another live show next week. Go on to the website if you aren't signed up for the updates of when the next new shows are coming out. All right, everyone, we'll catch you on the next adventure into reality.
each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge, it's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.